Jack Hilton, a magical name to millions. The man who won fame as a band leader and became one of the world's top showmen. A man who made millions and spent them, who made stars, but never lost the common touch. Yes, that was Jack Hilton. Jack Hilton's story begins in the grey, forbidding streets of a Lancashire town in the industrial north, where so many of Britain's finest entertainers came from. His cousin Fred, who is 80, remembers the hard times.
I remember Jack Hilton being born in Division Street, Bolton, quite well. He was poor born. His mother was knitting a pair of socks to earn a shilling the day that he was born. And she often told him after, in years when he was doing well, "Nay, Jack, don't get kicky. There were nobody ever born poorer nor they were." I remember the day as Jack come swaggering home with a clock as he'd won in an auction mart. And that was the first time as he ever got a prize for singing. I'm following in Father's footsteps. Jack's parents moved about a lot in them days. They went from Division Street to Moses Gate, and from Moses Gate to Dean Church Lane, where his mother opened a little toffee shop. From that he went to the Roundcroft, and from the Roundcroft they came and settled in a little place called Staley Bridge, to the Commercial Hotel.
Yet, grim as life can be in Staley Bridge 60 or 70 years ago, there is an atmosphere of rough good humour and plenty of music and laughter. The pubs, the commercial among them, provide entertainment, none better. Unlike the beer, it's free.
I remember the days when he used to come in and sing his old song, "There's nothing like this in America, there's nothing so pretty in France, there's nothing that's in it with this little linnet, I'll learn it to sing and to dance, then I'll take it to Ridery-Pidery in a carriage so nobby and grand, and I'll buy it a bonnet with feathers upon it and a toffee stick stuck in it hand." And he used to play and sing, and one of his favourite songs, "When I'm following in Father's footsteps, I'm following my dear old Dad," and he did do too. Those were rough days, when beer was a penny a gill, and Woodbine were 5 a penny. And them were the days as Jack had to please everybody, and he did. He did it well too. After he'd finished here, he went to Mottram with his father's Pierrots, and then on to Rill.
From Lancashire to the invigorating air of the North Wales coast, Jack's first professional engagement is in a Pierrot troupe at Rill. Also in comedy cameos is Bertha Russell.
I was with Jack Hilton in his very first show that he owned and managed himself. It was a concert party called the Comedy Cameos at the Olympic Gardens, Rill, in 1912. He was known as Jackson Hilton then. We all used to dig together, and the girls used to do the catering, and there was an awful row if our bills were more than 11 shillings a week each.
The boy from Bolton and Staley Bridge is growing up fast. With Neville Delmer's Naval Cadets, he goes to Devonshire. And in Exeter Cathedral, he develops an interest in serious music, an interest which will be reflected later on. He meets the organist, who is so impressed by the lad that he allows him to practice on the cathedral organ. Like all the likely lads from Lancashire, he joins the services in World War I. He meets in the First War a man destined to become famous in the Second, Othello Lancastrian, Tommy Handley.
It's that man again. Despite his meandering maneuverability, his strategical susceptibility, his infantile indefatigability, and his tendency towards tactical turbidity, he still remains.
Handley is not yet a comedian. He's a dramatic baritone. The two men become friends and join forces in a double act, Jackson Hilton and Tommy Handley. At the famous Old Bedford Theatre in Camden Town, London, they invite a leading agent to watch them. He drinks their scotch, but instead of engaging them, he books the performing cat in the next dressing room. Band leader Paul Whiteman, the sensation of the 20s in the United States, has a powerful influence on Hilton. A friend, listening with Hilton to Whiteman's music, asks, "Why can't you make a noise like that?" Jack takes the hint. Now we're in the age of radio and the gramophone, and the young band leader means to make the best of both. All his music is now properly orchestrated, and the gramophone companies like what they hear. Once my name was on the label, he says, I knew I was home. Hilton engages the best musicians he can find, and among them is Billy Turnant, who's brought the band together again for this program, with Leslie Saroni and Peggy Dell.
We are playing Jack Hilton's signature tune, Oh Listen to the Band, the one Jack made famous all over the world. We're using the same orchestrations as we did when Jack Hilton's show band topped the bill everywhere. And we've got here some of the original members of the band. There's Stan Roderick, one of the busiest trumpet players in London today, and Poggy Foxon. Now, Poggy has played saxophone for many years in Victor Sylvester's orchestra. And another of Jack's saxophone players in the great days, Dave Chan. Dave is now a band leader in his own right. And there's someone over here who played fiddle for Jack, Les Maddox. Then, of course, there's our drummer, and he's still very much in demand, Jock Cummings. And there are many more we'd like to have had with us. There's one we know better today as a football club director, Chappie D'Amato. And another of Jack's boys became famous as a conductor of a symphony orchestra, Hugo Rignall. If you're wondering what the band looked like more than 30 years ago, well, just judge for yourselves.
Talent is not enough, but Hilton has the other ingredients. He knows the value of showmanship and how to make the public enjoy his success. In 2 years, his band is top of Britain's popularity poll. It is to stay that way for the next 15 years. The Hilton sound is imaginative, quite unmistakable. Not for Hilton and his men the tedium of day-long coach rides. The band move with the times, usually a little ahead of them. With his flair for publicity, the little North Countryman doesn't have to make news. The trick, and he knows it, is to be news. He and his band are always in the headlines. Billy Turnant, who joins Hilton in Shake Your Feet at the London Hippodrome, makes those famous big-scale symphonic arrangements, a startling departure for any dance band. Hilton sets a new style, but never forgets the lovers of music for dancing and the public who, by tens of thousands, buy records because Hilton is the name on the label. It is hard to realize today, but at this stage in the Hilton story, this great show band enjoys a popularity unmatched by any modern group of musicians. Hilton is a perfectionist with a touch of steel beneath the boyish charm. The band is a tremendous hit in every big city on the music hall circuits, and Britain swings and dances under Hilton's baton. Melody, humor, and spectacle give sparkle to the Hilton shows, and he brings in glamorous and shapely performance.
But what would the Sergeant Major say? if the troops numbered off like this. And now for the judging proper. The job may be difficult, but the subjects are easy to look at. In fact, these are the sort of figures that would make any mathematician go wrong. Jack's had some pretty problems to face in his time, but these little ladies are setting him the prettiest of all. And now Jack's going to get right down to business. So here goes.
23.
23.
Hips. 34.
34.
How much do you weigh?
8 stone 10.
8 stone 10. Ankle 9.
Feet?
No, inches.
Hilton finds himself on the crest of a wave which takes him across the Channel. He has made his conquest of Britain, and now his world wanderings begin. News of this new-style presentation of music by a dance band intrigues continental promoters. They want the Hilton sound. They must see Jack Hilton and the players whom, until now, they've only heard on records and radio. For the first time, the name Hilton is coupled in print with the magic word million. In Paris, the Frenchmen take Hilton to their hearts, to say nothing of the French women. His visit is a rip-roaring success. After Paris, Madrid. From Spain, back to the city of wine, roses and song, Vienna. And on to other great cities of Europe, Hamburg, Amsterdam, Munich. Jack Hilton remains stubbornly unspoiled by success. In these, possibly the happiest days of his life, he is always ready to encourage promising young performers. Tommy Trinder is one. And Ernie Wise, another headline performer of the 1960s, came under Hilton's wing. Another protege is blind pianist Alec Templeton. Hilton tells how he took Templeton on his American tour.
In 1935, someone told me about the extraordinary abilities of Alec Templeton, and I arranged an audition for him. The audition was so successful that we immediately took him on the road throughout England, with the band. I was already contracted to go to the United States for commercial broadcasting. At that time, there existed an embargo that no British musicians could play in the States and no American musicians could play in England. Our next broadcast took place from Chicago. And try as much as I did, I couldn't get permission for Alec to be allowed to broadcast. So it was decided between Petrillo, the president of the Musicians' Union, and all that we should send him back home. I went and pleaded once again, pointed out that Alec was blind, and they ought to let him do just one broadcast for his own satisfaction before he left. And they agreed. Now, the reaction to that broadcast was such from the whole of America, from mothers' meetings, from families, from this, that they had to keep him there.
No one admired Templeton more than his old friend, Billy Ternent.
So you can see we had some pretty good musicians. That's why the band made such a terrific hit and topped the bill on the big music hall circuits on the continent and in the States. But the main reason for his success was that Hilton gave the public what it wanted. The Hilton sound in great tunes like these.
Just about to hold the competition. It's just a little bright idea of mine. I'm going to write a rhyming composition and then leave you to add the ending line. I'll sing the whole thing first in case of doubt. The second time, I'll leave the last line out. Now there was a young lady of Ealing who walked upside down on the ceiling. She fell on her neck and she murmured, by heck, It's a very peculiar feeling.
That was a beautiful rhyme. Sing us another one, Lou.
Now there was a young fellow of Cosham who took out his false teeth to wash 'em. His wife said, "Oh Jack, if you don't put them back, ta-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da."
Have you heard of Phil the Fluter from the town of Ballymuck? The times were going hard, but in fact the man was broke. So we sent an invitation to his neighbours, one and all, as to how we'd like their company that evening at a ball. When right now he was careful to suggest to them, if they found a hat of his convenient to the door, the more they put in, whenever he requested them, the better would the music be for battering the floor. With the twiddle of the fiddle, up and in the middle like a herd on the riddle, up, down, hands around, cross through the wall. Oh, happy we the gaiety until the blues the ball. First little Mickey Mulligan got up to show them how, and then the widow Caffrey stood up to make her bow. I could dance you off your feet, so she as sure as you were born. If you'll only have the piper play, the hair was in the corn. Phil played up to the best of his ability. Lady and the gentleman began to do their share. Faith and Mick, it's you that has agility. Begorra, Mrs. Caffrey, you're leaping like a hare. With the twiddle of the fiddle, up and in the middle like a herd on the griddle, up, down, hands around, cross through the wall. Oh, happy the gaiety of Phil the blues ball. Then Phil the Fluter passed the windlick with crooked Pat. I think it's nearly time to see for passing round the hat. So Paddy passed the cobbing round and looking mighty cute. Says you've got to beat the piper when he tootles on the flute. They all joined in with the great joviality, covering the buckle and the shovel and the cut. Jigs were danced of the very finest quality, for the widow bet the company at the handling of the foot. Twiddle of the fiddle, up and down and down in the head on the griddle, up, down, hands around, cross to the wall. Oh, haven't we the gaiety at Phil the Fluter Hall?
Serious music is ever near his heart, and when the future of the famous London Philharmonic is threatened, Hilton decides to preserve it. A secret meeting is held with a representative of the orchestra.
This is a surprise.
I expect it is. Sorry to bring you here this way, but I wanted to speak to you personally. Otherwise, you might have thought it a joke for me to be interested in serious music. Don't get alarmed. I don't want to conduct the band.
Oh, we mustn't worry about that.
Well, I find there are very large audiences for all kinds of music. But I think at the present time there are more people wanting to hear classical music than at any time before.
We've always thought that. Our ambition is to play to a much wider public. But there are very few halls in provincial towns which are large enough to cover the expenses of an orchestra of our size.
You mean concert halls?
Yes.
Well, why don't let the variety public listen to the orchestra? They'll do it if we put it within their reach.
I agree with you.
Very well, I'll put you on the music halls. I'll cover the musicians' salaries and pay all the expenses of the tour. It'll at least prevent the orchestra from disbanding.
Providing the musicians agree, we can do something together. I shall certainly recommend it.
Good. I feel sure we'll have a very big success.
By now, the lad from Bolton is an international personality in the world of music and the friend of celebrities, among them Yehudi Menuhin. But Hilton is a man of the people, and during the war he spares nothing in his work for those in the home front line.
At the end of the day, in a dream that divides my prayer is a rapture.
The greatest stars of the day are proud to join Hilton in keeping Britain in good heart.
Listen, you silly little man.
What's to do? Scotch. More scotch.
I wasn't expecting to see you this evening.
Why not?
Well, this telegram you sent me says I am dying. I don't know what you meant.
I am dying. Did I say that?
Dying on the
I
telegram.
am dying. Oh, well, you see, I wanted to say I am dying to see you, but there were too many words for sixpence, so I just...
Well, if it's going back to old jokes you want, what about this? Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Bandwagon brazenly presents Chestnut Corner. Now, listen to me. Where do the motor horns come from?
China.
What part of China?
Hong Kong. Thanks, Dave and Joe. Now, where are we?
Would you like to see a photograph of me taken when I was in hospital? Rather. Meanwhile, I'm in the end bed. If the end bed's empty.
Is it? I must have get out for a minute.
Who was that lady I saw you with last night?
That wasn't a lady, that was my nephew. He walks that way.
After the war, Hilton, always a lover of slapstick, revives the greatest broad comedy team of our time, the Crazy Gang.
Everybody's having fun tonight, jumping at the old town hall. Up the blues upon the run tonight, jiving at the Teddy Boys Ball. Listen to the music, riding high, groovy when the trumpets call. Dig the Teddy Cats as they go by, jiving at the Teddy Boys Ball. Stovepipe trousers, velvet collars, jackets all nice and long. Cute string tie, fancy waistcoats, brother, he must go wrong. Everybody's feeling good tonight, wonderful and that ain't all. Everybody's in the mood tonight, jiving at the Teddy Boys Ball.
great days. You know, I first met Jack Hilton was in 1925. Ches and I were playing the Palace, Manchester. He was top of the bill with his band, wonderful band, and we were second turn after the line of girls. And we became firm friends. Then we did a show at the Palladium together in 1935 called Swing is in the Air. And then we did another show after that called All the Light at Oxford Circus. Now, Jack and I sort of understood one another. I think he recognized my prowess as a writer and a comedian, forgive me for saying so, but we had a liking for one another. And then one night in 1947, I was in my first flop, Night and the Laughter at the London Coliseum. It was a very large theatre, very large stage, and an awful lot of people in it, and for 3 months I worked for nothing to keep the show going. Well, one night Chesney Ellen came round, and I said to him, Ches, I said, this is getting terrible, this show. Do you think the boys would like to get together again? Because after all, we were together for 7 years at the London Palladium. And when the war came, we'd all finished and went our various ways together. So Ches said, I won't be long, and out he went. Well, about an hour later, Chesney Ellen came back with Jack Hilton. I said, hello, Jack, what are you doing here? He said, Ches tells me that you would like the Crazy Gang to be together again. I said, I'd love it. He said, well, Nerva and Knox are the Adelphi in pantomime, so let's have lunch tomorrow and talk it over. Well, we did, and Chesney Ellen, Jack Hilton, myself, Nerva and Knox all got together, and we decided to do another Crazy Gang show at the Victoria Palace. Well, the first show we put on was a huge success. It ran for nearly 3 years, and we were at the Victoria Palace for close on 17 years.
There's no limit to the variety of Hilton's interests. The band leader showman is now the great impresario. His Earl's Court Circus has all the magic of spangles, thrills, and sideshows. He loves to stand at the ringside, in the mist of cigar smoke, eyes twinkling behind the now familiar spectacles. Hilton tackles yet another field of entertainment, the screen. With his friend, the distinguished film producer John Baxter, he is associated with the movie version of the North Country comedy he's staged at the Palace Theatre in London, The Love Match. There follows another money-spinning picture, the first of many joint ventures, and starring Arthur Askey. The new medium of television proves one of his most enjoyable and rewarding ventures. He becomes a founder director of TWW, Television Wales and the West. So far, Hilton has disliked the formality of the boardroom, but in television he finds a stimulating challenge. Now and again he makes a rare but welcome appearance on the screen himself, but his most important contribution is made behind the scenes. The West End of London, the heart of Britain's entertainment, where Hilton launched so many new shows and glittering stars. Among them, the Wonder Girl from Tiger Bay, the young Shirley Bassey.
Now when it comes to a question of sin, as Professor Joe would say, well, it all depends on what you mean by sin today. You can be born in it, live in it, and die in it, and you can pay for it, give in it, and lie for it. You can see the devil in it. As for me, I revel in it. Who's got a match for striking? Don't say it all depends. Who wants to help me burn my candle at both ends? Who's got a light he's hiding under a bushel, friend? Who wants to help me burn my candle at both ends? Admittedly, it may not last the night, but while it burns, what a wonderful light. Who'd like to play with fire recommend. Who wants to help me burn my candle at both ends? Who doesn't mind the reaper after he's sown wild oats? Who wants to take a chance and help me burn my boat? Who's not a low-band leaper, won't heed a warning note? Who wants to take a chance and help me burn my boat? It's possible the pace may prove too hot, but then again it could happen it's not. Who'd like to get in deeper, not caring if he floats? Who wants to take a chance and help me burn my boat? There's S for Scotch, that's so direct, and for straight and simple sex. I for invitation to close relationship with you, and for nothing but no less, S-I-M, that's sin I guess. Who's got a good ignition, waiting for dividends? Who wants to help me burn my candle? I'm for them. Who's really in condition, won't mind how much he spends? Who wants to help me burn my candle? I'm for them. It may not last, but it's all in the game, my friend. While it burns, what a fabulous flame! What an inhibition, weaker than he pretends. Who wasn't it to turn the handle, open my door and spurn the scandal? Who wants to help me burn my candle?
Jack Hilton presents. The words flash above famous playhouses. He stars Ingrid Bergman as Joan of Arc. His spectacular successes put Hilton in the forefront of international show business. Diana Dawes appears under the Hilton banner, and the crowded audiences which throng to see Wonderful Town still remember that talented star, Pat Kirkwood.
Like show business, like no business I know. The butcher, the baker, the grocer, the clerk are secretly unhappy men because the butcher, the baker, the grocer, the clerk get paid for what they do, but no applause. They gladly bid their dreary jobs goodbye for anything theatrical. And why? There's no business like show business, like no business I know. Everything about it is appealing, everything the traffic will allow. Nowhere could you get that happy feeling when you are stealing that extra mile. Show people they smile when they are low. Yesterday they told you you would not go far. That night you open and there you are. Next day on your dressing room they've hung a star. Let's go on with the show. The costumes, the lighting, the scenery, the props, the audience that lifts you when you're down. The headaches, the heartaches, the backaches, the flops. The sheriff who escorts you out of town. The opening when your heart beats like a drum. The closing when the customers won't come. There's no business like show business, like no business I know. Traveling through the country will be thrilling, standing out in front on opening night, smiling at
a royal variety performance, and Hilton presents No Fewer Than 5. He, who has never lost his Lancashire accent and still prefers black pudding to caviar, is clearly at home with members of the royal family. Among his personal friends is Lord Derby, chairman of TWW. It's Lord Derby who heads the memorial appeal to build the Hilton music rooms in the new Lancaster University. He loves the good things in life, his cigars, his yacht, and he is always news whenever he appears in public with giants of entertainment. And in weighing up a great newcomer, he never puts a foot wrong. His interests range far and wide. As well as show business people, he counts famous personalities, soldiers and statesmen, among his friends. But ever in his mind were his other friends, the playgoers, the customers. Hilton's enduring passion was for the theatre. But one final achievement was kept for his last years, to see the legend Jack Hilton Presents displayed outside the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. It happens with Camelot.
Sir Lionel.
Yes, Your Majesty.
And do you recall the other night that I distinctly said you might serve as my escort at the next town fair? Oh, well, I'm afraid there's someone who I must invite in place of you, someone who plainly is beyond compare. The Frenchman's power is more tremendous than I have ever seen anywhere. And when a man is that stupendous, he by right should take me to the fair.
Your Majesty, let me tilt with him and smite him. Don't refuse me so abruptly, I implore. Oh, give me the opportunity to fight him, and gold will be divided once more.
You'll bash and thrash him?
I'll smash and mash him.
You'll give him trouble.
He will be rubble.
A mighty whack.
His skull will crack.
Well, then you may take me to the fair. If you can carry us your promise, in fact my heart will break should you not take me to the fair. Sir Sagramore.
Yes, Your Majesty.
I have some rather painful news relative to the subject who's to be beside me at the next court ball. You were the chosen one, I knew, but it's tradition it should go to the unquestioned champion in the hall. And I'm convinced that splendid Frenchman can easily conquer one and all. And besting all our local henchmen, he should sit beside me at the ball.
I beg of you, ma'am, withhold your invitation. I swear to you the challenge will be met. And when I have finished up the operation, I'll serve him to your highness, all brochette.
You'll pierce right through him.
I'll barbecue him.
A wicked thrust.
'Twill be dust to dust.
From fore to aft.
He'll feel the draft.
Well then, you may sit by me at the ball. If you demolish him in battle, in fact I know I'd cry, will you not buy me at the ball? Sir Dinadan.
Your Majesty.
Didn't I promise that you may guide me to London on the day that I go up to judge the cattle show? As 'tis quite a nasty ride, I shall need someone at my side who'll be defending me from beast and foe. So when I choose whom I prefer go, I'll take the strongest knight I know. And young Dulac seems strong as they go. He should take me to the cattle show.
Your Majesty can't believe this blustering brattle. Let him prove it with a sword or lance instead. I promise you when I've done the gory battle, his shoulder will be lonesome for his head.
You'll disconnect him?
I'll vivisect him.
You'll open wide him?
I'll subdivide him.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Dear, 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 dear. Then you may take me to the show. If you can carry out your program, infected breathe inside, should you not guide me to the show?
We shall put an end to this gallic bag of noise and dirt. When we do all that we intend to, give me a plate of French order.
I do applaud your noble goals. Now let us see if you achieve them. And if you do, then you shall be the three who will go to the ball, to the show.
It has been Hilton's role to be the star maker, the kindly, forceful power behind the scenes. But he'd begun as an entertainer all those years ago in Bolton and Stalybridge, and he never forgot how applause first fell on his ears, even if his stage was a barroom. And he was never happier than when appearing himself in front of an audience.
May all your troubles be little ones, and may they all look just like you. May all your days be spent in sweet content beneath a sky of blue. May every road lead to happiness, and may your wildest dreams come true. May all your days be spent in sweet content beneath the sky of blue. May every road lead to happiness, and may your wildest dreams come true.
The legend of Jack Hilton will last, not only as the hard-headed, thrusting northerner who worked hard, he played hard too. He loved beauty and was intensely human. In the twilight of his brilliant career, he married again, and his wife Beverly came to symbolize the loveliness, the vivacity he always tried to present to the world. Who would deny him his pursuit of happiness? He enjoyed spending the wealth his genius had brought him, and he spent it freely on others, as well as on himself. But his greatest wealth was his humanity and his immense personal charm, which few could resist. His memory lives on in his music.